Good morning. Today we're already done with the Fall of the House of Usher. We're done with the Black Cat. We're done with the Telltale Heart. And today we're going to be covering the Cask of Amontillado. Okay? The Cask of Amontillado is going to be our fourth story from our author in depth, Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, so volunteers read. Go ahead.
Fortunato had the Cask of Amontillado. Fortunato had hurt me 1,000 times, and I had suffered quietly.
Okay.
But
When he's saying that he has hurt me 1,000 times, he's using a hyperbole. Hyperbole that he is exaggerating the injuries. It's like, for example, you're saying that you have been crying a river. You are not able to cry a river. That means that you have cried a lot. Okay? So this guy is exaggerating this narrator. And who has been the one that has hurt him? A guy named Fortunato. Okay? Very important, that character throughout our story. Go ahead.
But then I learned that he had laughed at my proud name, Montresor, the name of an old and honored family.
The problem here is the guy has laughed at his proud name, the proud name of the narrator. This is a problem that is happening here, and the narrator is thinking about doing something. He's planning something against this Fortunato guy. Go ahead.
I promised myself that I would make him pay for this. That I would have revenge.
Okay. This is a problem that human beings have every single time that someone does something bad to you. The first thing that you think about is what? Revenge. I'm gonna take revenge. This guy is gonna pay. This girl is gonna pay. And it is something that is gonna be the central theme here. Revenge. Okay? Very important. There's a very important quote about a guy named Mahatma Gandhi. Okay? And Mahatma Gandhi once said something very fascinating. And that's something that Martin Luther King is gonna emulate, is gonna use later on. And this is, write this quote down from Mahatma Gandhi. And this quote, I'm bringing it up because we're talking about revenge. An eye for an eye. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. That's the quote from Gandhi. It's like every time someone does something to you, I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to get payback. What happens if we continue to get payback, get payback, get payback? We're going to have a blind world, a world not able to see. Okay? Very good quote. Just want to bring it out in our lecture. Okay? Go ahead, Marina. Continue. You must not suppose,
however, that I spoke of this to anyone. I would make him pay, yes, but I would act only with the greatest care.
this guy's going to make him pay, but he's going to go step by step. This guy has everything calculated. Go ahead.
I must not suffer as a result of taking my revenge. A wrong is not made right in the manner. And also the wrong would not be made right unless Fortunato knew that he was paying and knew that I was forcing him to pay. I gave Fortunato no cause to doubt me. I continued to smile in his face, and he did not understand that I was now smiling at the thought of that I had planned for him, and the thought of my revenge.
If you see, it's very similar to Telltale Heart. Remember that the narrator in the Telltale Heart, every morning when the old man woke up, he went to him, good morning, how are you, didn't sleep well, and like everything was like the narrator was acting as everything is good, so that the victim does not suspect that there's something plotting against them. Okay, it's the same thing that is happening. If you look at the connections about the stories, you're gonna see a lot of connections, and you're gonna see a bunch of connections with our narrator, Edgar Allan Poe, big time, throughout our stories, okay? That's why it's so important that we build a background on the narrator so you can know the narrator, and then when you're reading the text of that narrator, you're going to understand the causes and the implications that made that narrator write what he wrote and the way he wrote it. Okay, go ahead.
Fortunato was a strong man, a man to be feared.
This guy is very powerful. Okay.
But he had one great weakness. He liked to drink good wine.
Okay. If we go back, bless you, we go back to the Greek era, the place always you had our hero that started up, and that hero is going to go down. And that's something that we're going to cover next year in British literature. But right now, the weakness, or in Greek terms, the tragic flaw for this guy Fortunato is going to be wine. So wine is going to be the tragic flaw of Fortunato. Wine will be his tragic flaw. Go ahead.
And indeed he drank much of it. So he knew a lot about fine wines, and proudly believed that he had trained to judge them. I too knew old wines well, and brought the best I could find it. And wine, I thought, wine would give me my revenge.
Okay, this guy is gonna be really good about wines. He knows a lot about wines. And because he knows about wines, our narrator is gonna use wine to set him up. Okay? Go ahead.
It was almost dark. One evening in the spring, when I met Fortunato in the street alone, he spoke to me more warmly than as was usual. For already he had drunk more wine than was good for him. I acted pleased to see him, and I shook his hand as if he had given me my closest friend.
These guys are gonna meet, and this guy's gonna shake his head like everything is good, like nothing bad is happening. Okay, go ahead.
Fortunato, how are you? Monsieur, good evening, my friend. My dear Fortunato, I am indeed glad that I have met you. I was just thinking of you, for I have been tasting my new wine.
So right now we started with the setup. I have tasted my new wines. What's gonna happen with Fortunato? He's gonna be interested in this. Go ahead. I
have brought a full cask of fine wine, which they tell me is Amontillado. But Amontillado, quite impossible. I know, it does not seem possible, as if I cannot find you, I was going to talk to Lucrezi. If anyone understands wine, it is Lucrezi.
Okay, big time. Since this guy's gonna use Lucrezi as a hook to get Fortunato, it's like, well, but I didn't find you, so I was looking for Lucrezi because he knows a lot about wines, and Fortunato does not like that idea because he is the one that thinks that he knows the best about wines. So bringing Lucrezi into action, that's the hook by our narrator.
Fortunato was jealous
Of Lucrezi, yes? In the matter, yes. Go ahead.
Lucrezi, he does not know one wine from another, but they say he knows as much wine as you know. Oh, come, let us go. Go where? To your vault to taste the wine.
So right there. What is Fortunato telling Montresor? Let's go to your vaults. Let's continue on. Go ahead.
No, my friend, no. I can see that you are not well, and the vaults are cold and wet.
Okay, what do you think Montresor is doing here?
reverse
Very good. Reverse psychology. It's like, whoa. We cannot go there because the walls are cold, are damp, they're not very good, and you're drunk, you're not healthy, so we should not go there. What do you think Fortunato is gonna say? Let's go. Let's continue on. So that's that reverse psychology that we're gonna see in our story. Okay, go ahead.
I do not care. Let us go. I am well enough. The cold is nothing. Amontillado. Someone is playing games with you, and Lucrezi knows nothing about wine, nothing at all. As he spoke, Fortunato took my arm, and I allowed him to hurry me to the great stone palace, where my family, the Montresors, had lived for centuries. There was no one at home, and I had told the servants that they must not leave the palace, as I would not return until the following morning, and they must care for the place. This I knew was enough to make it certain that they would all leave as soon as my back was turned.
Again, another example of reverse psychology. The guy is gonna tell his servants, I'm gonna go away several days. You may not leave the house. You must not leave the house because I'm not gonna be here, so you can guard the house. Why do you think he's doing this?
So no one would be there.
So no one. Once his back was turned, servants were away. So no one is gonna be in the house while he does what he needs to do. Go ahead. I took down
from their places on the wall 2 brightly burning lights. I gave one of these to Fortunato and led him to the wide doorway. There we could see the stone steps going down into the darkness. Asking him to be careful as he followed, I went down before him. Down under the ground, deep under the old walls of my palace.
So they're gonna have 2 torches, one for each one, and they're gonna hold the torches around. And you're gonna see Montresor like telling Fortunato, watch your step, watch out. And they continue going deeper and deeper. Go ahead.
We came finally to the bottom of the steps and stood there a moment together. The earth which formed the floor was cold and hard. We were entering the last resting place of the dead of the Montresor family. Here too we kept our finest wines. Here in the cold, dark, still under the ground.
Why do you think they're keeping the wine in the cold?
So they can stay cool.
They can stay cool. You're not gonna drink a hot wine. It has to be cold, like in a temperature that is not cold, like the fridge or the freezer. It's not that type of cold. It's certain cold. That's when we have the wine fridge that comes just to store wine. You have a different temperature for a different variety of wines. Okay, go ahead.
Fortunato's step was not sure, but because of the wine he had been drinking.
So his step is not very good. Why? The guy's drunk, so he's not able to step like firmly in the floor. Okay, go ahead.
He looked uncertain around him, trying to see through the thick darkness which pushed him in around us. Here our brightly burning light seemed weak indeed, but our eyes soon became used to the darkness.
It's like when you're in the dark and you're walking and you barely can see something, but at some point your eyes get used to the dark and you're able to see like good in the dark. Go ahead.
But our eyes soon became used to darkness. We could see our bones of dead lying in the large piles along the walls. The stones of the walls were wet and cold. From the long rows of bottles which were lying on the floor among the bones, I chose one which contained a very good wine. Since I did not have nothing to open the bottle with, I struck the stone wall with it and broke off the small end.
So there's no wine like bottle opener like to open like the cork of the wine. So they just struck it in the wall, got it open, and that's how they drank. What do you think they're gonna drink from that wine? What do you think the narrator or Montresor here is gonna give wine to Fortunato?
To get him more drunk.
To get him like drunker. Very good.
Here, Fortunato, drink some of this fine medoc. It will help keep us warm. Drink. Thank you, my friend. I drink of the dead who lie sleeping around us.
Read the next carefully. Read this next line.
And I, Fortunato, I drink to your long life.
Very sarcastic right there. Why? Drink for your own life. For your long life. What do you think? It's not gonna be long because you're gonna take revenge. We don't know. We don't know yet. Let's see.
A very fine wine indeed, but the Amontillado. It is farther on. Come. We walked for some time. We were not under the river's bed. And water fell in drops upon us from above. Deeper into the ground we went, past still more bones. Your vaults are many and large. There seems to be no end to them. We are a great family and a nice and an old one. It is not far now, but I can see you are trembling with the cold. Come, let us go back before it's too late.
Another reverse psychology. Come, let's go. We're late. What's gonna happen? Go ahead.
It is nothing. Let us go on. But first, another drink of your meadow.
Man, I got top of wine. Okay.
I took it from among the bones, another bottle. It was another wine of the fine quality, a degrade. Again, I broke off the neck of the bottle. Fortunato took it and drank it all without stopping for a breath. He laughed, and I threw the empty bottle over his shoulder. We went on deeper and deeper into the earth. Finally, we arrived at the vault, which the air was so old and heavy that our legs alone almost died. Against three of the walls, there were piles of bones higher than our heads. From the fourth wall, someone had pulled down all the bones, and they were spread all around us on the ground. In the middle of the wall was an opening into another vault. If I can call it that, a little room about 3 feet wide, 6 or 7 feet high, and perhaps 4 feet deep. It was hardly more than a hole in the wall. Go on, I said. Go in, and Amontillado is in there.
So right there, you're gonna go to a little door. You're gonna have a little door, and it's gonna say, "Go in there." The Amontillado is right there inside. You're gonna see it right there, the picture of the little wall.
Como un trap.
That's it. Go ahead.
Fortunato continued to go forward. Uncertainly, I followed him immediately. Soon, of course, he reached the back wall. He stood there a moment, facing the wall, surprised and wondering.
So he's gonna go to a place, gonna enter through the door, and everything is locked there. He's gonna go, and the only thing he's gonna see is the wall. That's it. In. Go ahead.
In that wall, there were 2 heavy iron rings.
2 heavy iron rings. What do you think those rings are for? Remember, like those rings where you put your hands and you like chain your hands right there? Go ahead.
A short chain was hanging from one of these, and a lock from the other. Before Fortunato could guess what was happening, I closed the lock and chained him tightly to the wall.
So what does Montresor is gonna do to Fortunato? He's gonna chain him to the wall. Very good. Right.
Fortunato, I said, put your hand against the wall. You must feel how the water runs over it. Once more, I ask you, please, will you not go back? No? If not, then I must leave you. But first, I must do everything I can for you. But the Amontillado. Ah, yes, indeed, the Amontillado. As I spoke these words, I began to search among the bones. Throwing them to one side, I found the stones which earlier I had taken down from the wall. Quickly, I began to build the wall again, covering the hole where Fortunato stood trembling. Montresor, what are you doing? I continued working. I could hear him pulling at the chains shakingly.
So you're gonna listen to what the chains.
Only a few stones remained to put in their place. Montresor, haha. This is a very good joke, indeed.
So still Fortunato is like he's drunk. He's thinking, oh, this is a joke. For a fine joke. Let's get out of here. Go ahead.
Many times will we laugh about it, haha.
Look at this. Like we will laugh about this joke so much later on.
As we drink our wine together, haha. Of course, as we drink Amontillado. But is it late? Should we not be going back? They will expecting us. Let us go. Yes, let us go. As I said that, I lifted the last stone from the ground. Montresor, for the love of God. Yes, for the love of God. I heard no answer, Fortunato, I cried. Fortunato, I heard only a soft, low sound, a half cry of fear. My heart grew sick. It must have been the cold. I hurried to force the last stone into his position, and I put the old bones in a pile against the wall. For half a century now, no human hand has touched them. May he rest in peace.
What happened to Montresor?
He died.
Montresor died.
No. He killed Fortunato.
He didn't kill Fortunato. He just left him there.
He crossed the street.
Very important, like the drinking. If probably Fortunato wasn't drunk, then probably it would have been like so easy for like Montessor to do the result. Take care when you drink. If you drink excessive alcohol,
You can die.
what could happen?
You gotta die.
They'll do whatever they want with you. You're in the mercy of the other person. Okay? It's just the way it is. Because Fortunato was vulnerable for Montessor. Basically, just vulnerable. That's it. Okay? So basically, that's it for our fourth story, the Cask of Amontillado. Thank you.